Welcome to the Snow Globe here in New Hope. Cooper High School, Barbara A. Lehman Stadium, the site for the Section 5 5A Football Championship. The St. Louis Park Orioles and the Cooper Hawks. Good evening, I'm Jay Wilcox. Wintry weather arriving for this one. Bill Huntstock. These teams for a long time were teams that struggled to get things going when they were playing back in the Lake and Classic Lake Conference days. St. Louis Park, first winning season since the early 70s. Meanwhile, Cooper looking for just its second state tournament appearance ever. Really nice to see these programs coming back and rebounding the way they have.
I believe that's exactly right, Jay. Both teams have really worked hard this year to solidify their programs, bring their kids along, and focus on what's important for the season, which is getting into the playoffs, working through the playoffs, and getting into the state tournament. For Spring Lake Park, I mean, it's a huge thing. They haven't had a winning season in 40-some years, and for them to be able to put things together and play for a section final, it's a huge deal. For Cooper, they've been a little bit better the last few years, but they spent a lot of years as a doormat, as you said, and they've got a really good group of athletes that really want to focus on not only getting into the state tournament, but playing in the state championship and winning that thing. So this is an important game for both teams.
Cooper 9-0 this year, including a 40-17 win over St. Louis Park. The Orioles, though, jumped out to an early lead in that one. It was way back in week 2, long before there was any thought of snow or anything. The teams have changed a lot, I think, since then, too.
I believe so. St. Louis Park has kind of found themselves. Offensively, they've really blossomed into a good passing team. They've got a good quarterback and a good pair of receivers, so they can throw the ball. Well, they'll do it tonight or not, waits to be seen. But they've solidified themselves. They got 4 or 5 wins in a row now. They're 6-3. They feel very confident, and they know that they can play with anybody. And they would like to get a little revenge on Cooper for that shellacking they took back in September.
Talk about key players to look at in tonight's game, starting with the visiting Orioles. The guy who's been their leading receiver this year. Again, how much and how effectively they can throw tonight is still a question, but Achille Ferris has had a real nice year for them.
He really has. He's a very solid receiver. He has good hands, good speed, good moves, gets himself open. It's like they say, he can separate. So that's a really good quality, and you like to see that in receiver. And the quarterback has got the ability to get the ball to him. And that's going to be a key thing, is how well they can mix up where they take the ball against the Cooper defense. Cooper's got a very good defensive secondary.
And for Cooper, we're going to talk about a guy who has really been a second thumper as a linebacker behind Ante Burns. Nate Hill has had a really nice year, a tough kid, not as big as Burns, but he's been very effective as a linebacker, making big plays, and then also when needed as a running back.
Exactly, and both these teams have a number of guys that go both ways, but Hill has done a really good job at the linebacker spot. And you always have to have that second guy that can come in and play and make plays and be very steady and very, very solid. And that's where Hill has been, both defensively and a little bit offensively. He adds a lot of nice depth to that offensive backfield. But I think defensively tonight, watching the linebackers for Cooper, where are they going to be and how are they going to force turnovers? I think turnovers are the key tonight because of the weather right now.
Certainly the kicking game and the passing game might be impacted a little bit tonight, and just footing in general is going to be a little bit of an issue. But as Coach Howard from Cooper said, hey, it's the same for both teams, and we just have to take care of business out here tonight. The winner goes to the state playoffs. St. Louis Park looking for its first ever trip to state. Cooper shooting for its second appearance in the state playoffs. We'll kick off in a moment here on CCX Sports.
What makes your community feel like home? Is it knowing what's happening in your neighborhood, or when people know your name? Connections make us a community. For more than 30 years, Northwest Community Television has connected citizens, neighbors, even sports fans through video. As life gets busier than ever, we will still offer you a connected community experience through CCX Media, so you can stay connected to the place you call home.
And welcome back here. The field's been cleared some with the snow brush attached to a tractor here. They've gotten things a little more under control, and it's not snowing nearly as hard.
No.
We're going to go down field level now. Allie Arnold braving the elements here this evening.
Yeah, guys, welcome to our winter wonderland down here on the sidelines. There is no denying this weather. So before the game, I talked with the head referee, who said he talked with Cooper's AD, who said before kickoff, they were going to get this field clear. You're seeing that now. And that throughout the game, as snow continues to fall, they might have to do some dusting off situations if it comes down to ball measurement. But this officiating staff said this is nothing new for them. They experienced this just last week. So they said, you know, while it is a little cumbersome, it does make our jobs a little bit more difficult, but we're used to it. On the coaching end, both guys said, you know what? We've got to just keep doing what we're doing. We don't want to change up what's been working out for us so far this season. So it's business as usual, but both coaches said this snow does make it a little more fun. Now, worth noting, the home bench for Cooper, they do have heaters over there. That'll keep the guys warm. Opposing team, they're going to have to run some sprints to stay warm, but I did check the radar. The snow is going to lighten up, so winter, push off for a little bit longer.
Thanks, Allie. And St. Louis Park will receive the kick. Achille Ferris and Karan Adams waiting back deep. And getting set to kick off here for the Hawks is Jafar Abdul Rahman. Have to take the little shorter, choppier steps here, I think, tonight for, you know, everybody involved, just till you kind of figure out the footing. One thing is, you know, we talked about, you know, clearing the field and everything. Obviously, on a turf field like this, you're in a much better situation than you would be on grass in all phases, in terms of also looking, just you can see the yard lines now that they've cleared it. It isn't going to be nearly as difficult a task, I think, for the officials as it maybe would have been on a grass field like the game that we were at last week over at Totino Grace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little bit of a late start as they cleared the field off of snow, but we are ready to go, and Abdul Rahman puts his foot to it, and it'll be fielded on the run at the 25-yard line. Spun around there was Samaje Mitchell, and the Orioles will have it first on about the 35-yard line as their dependable quarterback Johnny Sorensen, a three-sport captain, coming out. He'd been playing receiver a year ago and taken over the Orioles offense this year, and a guy that's a good leader for their team and been a big part of what they've been able to do this year. And I was a little taken aback. I know they hadn't had a real strong program. Right. Coach Wolf said first winning season since 1972, I think. Yeah. And so that's a big feather in the cap for the Orioles, and they would love to put a win together here tonight and get to their first state tournament. As we said, for Cooper, be only the second time if they were able to advance here this evening. So Sorensen and crew, I think taking care of the football and keeping it as dry as possible is going to be a challenge tonight for everybody as well. And here we go, first play from scrimmage. Sorensen, the lefty, back, and he's going to go deep on first down the sideline, and incomplete as he tried to hook up with Mitchell there. Pretty solid coverage, though, in the back by Rashad Keaton for Cooper, who was right with him, and they go for broke on that first down.
Hey, you got to find out what you can do right out of the gate, and I like that call. You stretch the defense. Don't let those guys settle in and play 9-man up front and force you to pass. Loosen them up right away, and then maybe you can get some other things going, get your shorter pass game working.
Sorensen handing it off on the sweep left here. And Ante Burns comes over with a physical finish on Sajid Natham there for Park, and he will pick up about 4, it looks like, so leave him with a 3rd and 6.
Actually not a bad gain, but we could see that the running back was a little bit ginger as he got out there on the flank just to try to get his footing.
Fakes the handoff this time. Sorensen keeping it, and he'll be stopped short of the first down by a good 2 yards. So St. Louis Park, we'll see what in this spot on the field. Maybe you don't kick it. Maybe you go ahead.
Well, and Sorensen is also the punter, so you never know. They might just drop him back and punt.
Looks like they're trying to draw Cooper offside at the moment anyway here. Sorensen does get under center now, but this looks like a
no play
here.
Yeah.
And they will take the delay of game penalty as the Hawks stay disciplined and don't jump offside here. You get all jacked up in a game like this. I think that's not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely, you know, you're in a critical playoff game. You want to get off on a good start. And
Phoenix Sproles the up returner. Pedro Amoso back deep as Sorensen. Oh, he drops it.
Oh.
And it'll be recovered by the Hawks. Either way, it was going to be their ball right there. Terrence Nicholson diving on it, and we see the first weather-related situation tonight. Sorensen caught the snap, but then just had it get away as he was about to boot it. And Cooper will have excellent field position at the Orioles' 30-yard line as Cameron King and crew coming on out. There's a look at Nicholson getting in there and just won the race to the ball. They were going to have the ball either way, but it still feels good to get your hands on it early like that.
Absolutely, and like I said in the pregame, Jay, that the turnovers are going to be a critical issue tonight for both teams.
King handing it off left side. Nasir Borden trying to break through a jersey tackle there. And pretty good grip strength to hang on to him enough to bring him down after about a 5-yard pickup. He's the small, speedy part of their running back and the trio, and then you'll probably see some of Nate Hill and probably some of Ante Burns, depending on situation here. Borden had a good game last week and ripped off a 59-yarder in that win over Spring Lake Park. So 2nd and 5 now for the Hawks. Going to keep it on the ground here. Borden has a hole to run through, and then he is met hard on a good form tackle there by Karan Adams. And he'll be just shy of the first down by about a yard, it looks like here. Pretty good gap open, though, by the left side of that Cooper offensive line, and they've got some big boys up front.
They've got some good size up front, and they move around pretty well.
And an early start, it looked like, on the right side of the offensive line here for Cooper, and they were going to have a good chance to get the first down, it appeared, but maybe that was in part because they they got off a little bit too early at that time, so mark off a 5-yard penalty against the Hawks. Each team has now taken one, and it will be 3rd down and 6 here for Cooper. King to Borden, who nearly tripped over King. And he is wrapped up and stopped well short of the first down. Got a couple on the play. See, he actually got tripped briefly by King, and then the defense swallowed him up. So Cooper in a spot here where you certainly figure there's no decision to be made here. You're going to go for it. Burns comes in the backfield for the Hawks. 4th down and about 4. And they're going to go to Ante Burns on the right side. Bounces it out. Burns gets to the corner down the sideline, steps through a tackle,
and fumbled
lost the ball.
End zone. That could be a touchback. If it went through the end zone, that's a touchback.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Going to be St. Louis Park football as Burns turned the corner, and he was just starting to try and reach the ball out, and he ends up fumbling it through the end zone. See right there, it really was hard to tell where the sideline was at that point. I think for all the players involved too, and then you see it goes through the end zone and out of bounds. So a touchback will give it to St. Louis Park as Cooper turns it over after Burns had a good run going.
Right, two critical turnovers there already. One by each team on their first possession.
Sorensen handing it off. And a good run here up the middle by Natham, and the O-line, their bench is really fired up as they push their way all the way out to the 35, about a 15-yard pickup.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing in the football rules that it's okay for a lineman or a player to push a running back in the back. You can't pull him forward, but you can push him forward.
First down of the game here for either team as the Orioles able to pick it up.
Power key three. Oh, we're good.
Sorensen dumping it out into the flat. It is complete, but that one's going nowhere as staying at home there was Hill. And then the help arrived as well, and not much room for Ferris to do anything. They'll lose a little bit on that one.
There you can see Hill and the other D-backs, Ante Burns, the linebacker, and B.J. Hill, both making good plays on that quick bubble screen type play.
2nd and a dozen now from the 33 here for St. Louis Park. Sorensen fakes the handoff, keeps it himself, and he pays the price. Cooper's got a pretty physical defensive line. They don't necessarily have, a lot of tall guys. They got the fire plug guys that can get up and break things up.
Yeah.
You see the hit there, and he was kind of wrestled to the ground there by Cortez Bell. And he got back about a yard after the first down loss of 2. So it'll be 3rd and 11 here for St. Louis Park.
And it seemed like, boy, the St. Louis Park running backs are like pinballs back there in the backfield, running into each other, and the way Sorensen bounced around.
Fakes the handoff again, and Sorensen is brought down. Good pursuit along the line there by Shaquan Watson, number 79. And Sorensen stopped well short of the first down as he picks up about 3 on this play and bring up another presumably punting situation here. Looks like Sorensen is not the punter this time around. And it's going to be a fake. Burns reaching out, but can't bring him down in time, and it looks like it'll be enough.
He got it, yeah.
Yeah, Skylar Delius Palmer running for the first down.
Well, that's a nice 12-yard game, well blocked. You can see there's one guy that can make the play. Ante Burns can make the play, but not until the line to gain has been reached.
He wrapped him up about a yard short, but he couldn't pull him directly down. He kind of fell forward. And there's Nathan with a pretty good gain off the left side here as Park. Wow, taking that roll in the dice a little bit, a fake punt. Running it with, not with Sorensen back there, but their second punter there, Palmer. So about a 6-yard pickup that time. Handing it off again up the middle, and Nathan driven back.
Close.
He's going to be close. He got just over the 45-yard line of Cooper, and they'll have to take a little bit of a look here and see if this is going to be enough for a first down. Looks like not quite.
Close,
no, about a yard short.
But I'm really surprised that the Orioles here are running the ball straight ahead and into the teeth of that Cooper defense. It's a good strategy if you can get a couple of good plays going, which they have so far in this drive. But they haven't really made their living running the ball this year.
And we have movement here before the snap, and a penalty against St. Louis Park.
That's a tough one because you go from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6, and that's a totally different play call, a totally different mindset. But I think St. Louis Park has made it clear that they're not going to leave anything. They're not going to leave anything in the playbook tonight. They're going to do whatever they got to do to make things happen.
Third and 6 as Sorensen drops to throwing deep down that left sideline, and he has got the completion. Hauled in by Mitchell on a strike down the sideline by Sorensen, and they will be down to near the 10-yard line.
You see Mitchell makes a nice over-the-shoulder catch. Does a good job. Doing very nicely against the defensive back, Terrence Nicholson. As you can see, catches the ball. Nicholson's right there. You cannot fault Nicholson's defense, but that's a great catch by Mitchell, the receiver, and gets the ball all the way down into good scoring position.
They go with the toss out right side. Sproles up, trying to drag him down with that one hand. He's got a cast on the other hand. Karan Adams on the carry, but we have a flag down on the play. And you're kind of thinking, yeah, I was going to say, a lot of times on a play that gets to the edge like that, you might see a hold called. And it's probably right there. Well, that wasn't much.
Maybe even right there.
But it did one of those two anyway. So that definitely hurts the Orioles after they had a decent play on that first down, and instead it's going to be a 10-yard penalty. A little tough picking up the down markers here, or the yardage, I should say, and not the down marker, but back out to about the 24, it looks like, is where they'll spot it here. Be first down again. They can get a first down, but it's at about the 1 yard line.
Yeah, it's about the 1 or 2.
Sorensen rolling to the left, spins away from the first contact, but then the rest of the posse arrives. Justin Madison was there first, and also got some help from Watson too. You see Madison, and from the the other side it was Miles Stokes, and Stokes getting a good portion of that one as well there.
Now we're second and very long. So the penalty can just kill you. Have a great play to get yourself down into, good field, really good field position, and a penalty puts you into a situation where now you're second and 20-some. Very tough to recover from that.
And go with the handoff here, and Ante Burns meeting Natham in the backfield and drags him down. Boy, he had a great season for Cooper, and he shows it right there. A Montana State recruit, and he comes up, beats the block, wraps him up, and pulls him down for another loss.
Gets right up into it, yep. So now we're third and even longer.
Back to the 35-yard line or so here.
Yeah, third and about 30 here.
Sorensen looking right, and he throws, and it is incomplete. A little behind and a little high as he looked for Kai McKee, who then took a shot for his efforts from Sproles coming over. So a fourth down play. Boy, it briefly looked like it was flashing open there.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of room in between the two levels of the defense, but it almost happened there for St. Louis Park. And you're seeing right now that they're dangerous, throwing the ball, whether it be downfield or short.
Yeah, McKee looked like he had a pretty good chance at that ball, just didn't quite get his body around far enough to make the grab.
Sorensen is going to punt it away this time, try and pin him deep, looking for the corner, and looks like he got it. It went out of bounds in about the 2-yard line. Boy, at an initial glance, it looked like it was probably going to bounce into the end zone, but Sorensen put in the right English on it here, and he'll get it to drop out of bounds. There's a great look at it right at the 2-yard line. So they pin Cooper deep. And boy, on nights like this, sometimes it feels like old-time football when you're talking about field position really being a big thing, and it is on a night like this especially.
Yeah, especially when you get your opponent down deep in their own zone. And Sorensen, I just noticed he throws left, kicks right.
Yes.
Very ambidextrous kind of a guy.
Hill and Burns in the backfield along with King, and they're going to try and power run it out of here, I think. Handoff goes to Burns. Did not get much. Nice tackle there by Parks. Lopez Barrera. So Burns a pickup of, looks like about a yard and a half or so. Under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter, no score on the board. Cooper and St. Louis Park playing for the Section 5 5A title, and it does appear that the snow is mostly stopped now, or let up a lot anyway.
Yep. Back
to Burns they go, and again it's well defended as the Orioles flowing to the ball nicely there. Adams in on the stop that time, and that That yard marker isn't moving much, if at all. It looks like it'll be 3rd and 9.
And if they don't get it out much further, they're going to be kicking from just about the end line, and that's very uncomfortable.
Cameron King, a veteran quarterback, had a pretty solid year for them, but boy, it's a dangerous spot to be thrown out of your end zone here. And we'll see if they'll be looking to go to the air, and they are. King lofting it up deep down the sideline, and the catch is made. Hauled in by Pedro Amusu. So Park had a big play down the sideline throwing the football, and now Cooper responds with one of their own. And that is a huge play to get out of a hole back near their end zone. Put it on the money, and Pedro hauling it in. Just got a foot in. Not too bad a D by Adam Bauer, that's for sure.
They say both long passes we've seen completed have been pretty well defended by the corners.
So a fresh set of downs, the ball's loose. A scramble for it. Nobody able to get it cleanly the first time, and it looks like Park will have it.
Yeah, a couple of Orioles really punching at the ball, and looks like
St. Louis Park with the recovery as Adams falls on it. You see, never really had it clean, and then the first 2 guys who tried to get on the ball couldn't get it. Cameron King pulling a little bit of Jeff George there, not going for the ball. And it'll be St. Louis Park with the recovery.
Well, the twists and turns of the game, turnovers, as we said, we're going to be an issue, and certainly they have been so far.
1st and 10 on the Cooper 15 now for Johnny Sorensen in the Orioles offense. That great punt pinned him deep, and eventually Cooper turning it over. Natham on the carry, this time left side. Wrapped up around the waist by Brandon Lyons, and then some help arrived.
Yeah, Ante Burns was the second guy in on the tag. We're going to call his name a lot, I think, tonight, Jay.
It would appear so. Short gain on that play of about a yard as we tick toward the end of the first quarter. This might be the last play. Sorensen firing, it's complete. And is he in? No signal yet. Looks like just shy of the goal line as Ferris makes the catch and then is cut down. As Sproul's getting to him, and you see, oof, that's awful close.
Boy, that is. So we got 1st and goal now at about the 1 yard line.
They're going to call a timeout. Cooper is defensively here as Park goes back up to the line and looking to punch it in. A big play. Boy, the idea that, maybe we won't be able to throw tonight, forget that.
Exactly.
Sorensen and King are saying, no, we're going to keep on doing what we do.
Yep.
And that time a strike over the middle, and Ferris was awful close to the goal line. That was one where if we're in the NFL, they're looking at it over and over and over because it was pretty close.
Yep. And Sproles makes a nice hit to take the legs out of Ferris before he got to the goal line. But with the snow letting up and the field relatively clear, you know, if they can keep the footballs relatively dry, the passing game will be effective if the guys just keep their hands warm.
And not that much of a wind issue to deal with tonight either. So here we go as 1st and goal now for St. Louis Park. Sorensen's going to take it himself, and he will get in for the touchdown. With 3.9 seconds to go in the first quarter, the Orioles able to capitalize on the turnover, and Sorensen takes it in from a yard out, and the visitors from Park getting on the board first.
It's an interesting way to run a quarterback sneak. Instead of just driving ahead, Sorensen stepped back, looked up, almost like a quarterback draw, and then drove ahead into the end zone.
And the extra point try is up and good from Rodelius Palmer. And so St. Louis Park able to capitalize on that Cooper turnover and take it in for the touchdown, and they lead at 7-0 here very late in this first quarter.
A nice pass by Sorensen, they set that play up and a good run into the end zone for the first touchdown. And Sorensen's done that more than once this year. He's got several rushing touchdowns. It'll be interesting to see what Spring Lake Park or St. Louis Park does with the kickoff here. If they drive the ball on the floor to keep, make it bounce around and not let the receiver catch the ball cleanly in the air. With 3 seconds to go, of course, you said, Jay, there's no wind, so there's no advantage one way or the other here.
So Rodelius Palmer getting set to kick it off here for the Orioles. And he will pooch it high and short, and they try and keep it in bounds, but couldn't quite do it. And so it will be a kick out of bounds. They were looking to recover this one, not just cover it well. And you see Cooper trying to stay out of the way, and hustling down there was Adams, but he couldn't keep it in bounds.
That was pretty darn close. He was not out of bounds when he left the field to swat that thing back in. And Cooper's going to get the ball in relatively good field position here at the 35-yard line. But again, St. Louis Park making it clear that they're going to pull out all the stops tonight.
And off to Borden, broke the first tackle, and then is cut down. As coming up to meet him was Adams, and able to knock him down. And that is going to bring us to the end of our first quarter here this evening. A late touchdown for the Orioles. Our score after one, St. Louis Park 7, Cooper nothing.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. A look up at the lights, and not too much, if any, snow falling anymore at this point. There's a lot piled up, certainly along the sideline, though. So we go to quarter number 2, and St. Louis Park leading it by a score of 7-0. A second down and about 8 coming up here for Cooper. Back to Borden left side, stepping out of a tackle there, and he looks like he'll have enough for the first down as he's wrestled down out over the 45 to about the 46. And they'll move the chains on that gain. Hill will come in to replace Borden in the backfield.
And Cooper's got some depth in the offensive backfield. They've got 4 or 5 guys that can run the ball, and they're not afraid to do that. They're not afraid to shuttle guys in and out of there.
So 1st and 10 on the 46. King looking to throw, and he's got his man. Completion there to Amusu, and he is brought down. Looks like he'll have enough for the first down and down to about the 41 as he shook off that first tackle attempt. And so Cooper getting some things going a little bit here. 4 receiver set as they generally do. They've been using a tight end on occasion. King will hand it off. Oh, and Hill is met immediately. Adams got penetration and gets there.
Caron Adams came in on a weak side weak side blitz there and makes a big hit on B.J. Hill in the backfield.
Nate Hill.
Or Nate Hill.
So it'll be a loss of about 3 here. 2nd and 13 coming up for the Hawks. King handing off to Borden on the draw. Got through a couple tackles, but not the rest, as Park again getting good penetration. Finished off that time by Osseo Dedefo for the Orioles. And we'll bring up a 3rd down and long.
It looked like that was going to be a much bigger play when that draw opened up, but it was closed off pretty nicely by the defense for little or no gain. I actually thought it was going to be
I thought he had
3 or 4 yard gain.
I thought he had picked up at least something, but he was hit so early on in the play that even breaking tackles, he still only got back to about the line of scrimmage. King looking to throw, rolling to his right, and he'll dump it off. It's tipped. This might be a lateral, or at least close to it. They're going to rule it an incomplete pass, as he tried to dump it off to the safety valve, but by this time King had moved forward and was very close to this being a lateral. As you see, he throws it toward Borden.
Yeah, it wasn't a lateral until it was tipped.
Right, it was going forward, and then the defender batted it. So Cooper had a little something going, but now stopped. And they will line up as if to punt it anyway. Sproles is the punter, and again, he's only got really one good hand right now, but enough to catch the football. He'll do so and gets this one away, and it's a very high kick, but it's going to bounce into the end zone for a touchback. And St. Louis Park will start with the ball on their 20-yard line this time around. So Orioles football, a couple minutes into the 2nd quarter, 7-0 lead for St. Louis Park. And Sorensen and company back out there.
No, it's like a filler story, like a feel good, I think. I have no idea.
Sorensen faking the toss, now keeping it himself, chased out by Sproles, and they bring him down after about a 3 or 4 yard gainer there.
Hey, nice run, baby.
They've done a pretty good job of clearing that sideline off, so you can see it pretty good now. And Cooper they were close to taking more of him. Actually, he got more yards than I thought there, didn't he?
Yeah, he actually got about 5, 6. Looked like he only had a couple, but where they marked him out.
And you see Sorensen's little pouch thing has come off, and the official helping him out, throwing it off the field there, as he's like, what do I do with this now? Sorensen, the keeper here, and wrapped up by Burns and crew, but not until he's easily able to get enough for the 1st down, out to about 35 yard line there. Another 1st down gainer for Park.
Well, Sorensen is, to my mind, is proving to be much more of a runner than we were led to believe. He's run the ball well this year, but he seems to be the key guy right now in their offense in terms of running the football.
Hand off here going to Natham, and this one is stacked up. He tries to bounce out of there, but it's not going to happen. And Cooper's defense will stop him for a short loss on the play of a yard or 2. And this is what they've been able to do against a lot of teams this year, is just with their down linemen able to kind of get, at least a stalemate or some push, and then allow, guys like Burns to come in and clean up, or Hill,
right,
or even make the tackle himself. So 2nd down and 12 here now for St. Louis Park. Nice cut up the middle that time, as the play looked like it was designed to be more of a sweep look, but Ferris taking the handoff here, and you see right here following that block.
It was a nice kick out by the offensive lineman, and good play for about 5, 6 yards. make it from second and long to third and reasonable here.
Third and 6 coming up for Park. Sorensen throwing and knocked away and almost caught. Nicholson tried to undercut it, and then Mitchell had it in his hands but couldn't bring it in. See, the ball fluttered a little bit up there. Nicholson trying to get to it. He gets his left hand on it. And then Mitchell trying to play the carom, couldn't quite do it. Once again, it's Rodelius Palmer coming on as the punter. He ran the ball in this situation prior. This time he's going to boot it away. High kick, and it will go out of bounds at about the 36-yard line or so, and Cooper will get the football back here. First down and 10. Is there a flag or not?
I think Sorensen's looking for his.
Oh yeah, where did my hand warmer go? And the referee threw it way across off the sideline on the other side there, and now he's got it back. It took me a little bit last week to figure out Cooper. A lot of Cooper players were wearing those, and and the same thing was happening. They, hurriedly whip it to the sideline right before a play because it wasn't staying on the way they wanted or whatever. Handoff here going to Borden. Has a head of steam as he comes up the sideline and dragged down on the tackle that time by Ferris. And Borden will be close to a first down. Looks like about a 9-yard pickup. They're doing a nice job, particularly on the left side of that offensive line, of creating some holes for Borden. Yeah,
that's a side where Adam Cook and Cedric Williams are both on that side. I think that's the two guys. Adam Cook, definitely number 71. Done a pretty good job tonight.
Goes to Borden. Borden threw a gap there and then is brought down as both guys going low there, and Malone making the stop here for St. Louis Park, but Borden will easily pick up the first down.
Borden doesn't have to do much to get low. He's only 5 feet 5 inches tall, 150 pounds. He certainly plays a lot bigger than his body looks, and you usually don't see a 5'5", 150-pound guy running in between the tackles very much, but he does a nice job of getting behind those big offensive linemen and finding a seam.
He does a nice job, too, of getting up to, relatively full speed in a hurry, too.
Yeah, he's got quick feet.
Here, this time it's Hill taking the handoff. Ooh, and a secondary hit coming in, popping him pretty good as Malone finished him off after he was stood up here. Hill's a physical guy, but watch this second hit coming in, bang! As Malone took care of both his teammate and Hill on that one. As the first contact there you see by that guy, Peyton Morrison. And so about a yard loss on the play for Hill. Cooper's, done some good things offensively, but not really been able to put any kind of drives together here as we're nearing the halfway point in the second quarter, and they trail 7-0. And we are going to get a illegal snap call there against Cooper, as you saw the indication that he's lifting the ball up and down. And on a night like tonight, they're probably going to give you a little bit of leeway to really get your grip on the ball, but you can't lift it all the way off the ground.
Can't lift it off. As soon as it comes off the ground, it's got to be snapped. You can't put it back down. You don't get a do-over for that.
And off here going to Hill, wrapped up and wrestled down hard. St. Louis Park trying to show that they're, every bit as physical of a team as Cooper as well here, and a short gainer on that play, but not much. About a 2-yard pickup for Hill. Bring up a 3rd and long coming for Cooper.
Cooper, I don't think they like anybody else, but I think Cooper particularly is not used to being in 3rd and long situations. as they have been tonight.
King throwing down the middle of the field and just off the fingertips of Amusu there. They had what they wanted, but just didn't quite connect. You see a ball up, a tough one to handle coming over the shoulder like that.
Yeah, Musu had the linebacker beat, and the safety was out of position. So that was a fortuitous play for the Orioles, and one that Cameron King, I'm sure, would like to have back.
Sproles on to punt here. Ooh, and he just got that one away as the rush was coming from Lopez Barrera. And they did not field it, and it's going to take a good Cooper bounce down around the 11-yard line there as it's downed. And so St. Louis Park will have the football, but not in particularly good field position here with 5:08 to go in this first half. And the Orioles leading Cooper by a score of 7-0 here on CCX Sports Section 5 5A Championship. Bill, I have to admit, I'm kind of used to, how the sections were having. It's less confusing in all the other classes. 6A, you don't know what to call it. It's a first-round game. It's a second-round game. They're crossing over, and
there you go.
The more traditional sections in all the 5A on down. Sorensen, they're going to have a flag down as St. Louis Park will be whistled for a 5-yarder to begin this drive.
And now the Orioles are going to have to try to deal with the bad field position in 1st and 15.
Going to go with the handoff here to Natham, but that is stacked up. Not much push gained there as Dwayne Taylor and crew able to stuff things for Cooper. Bring up a second down, and boy, if you're Cooper right here, obviously you'd love to force a punt from, without allowing them to really get much more and have them have to kick it out of the end zone.
Yeah, you'd really like to be able to play the field position game here, which Cooper has done pretty well on this sequence.
And off on the sweep right is Nathan. Madison got a piece of him, and they're able to bring him down right near the sideline there. So he bounced off the first tackle attempt, but really not much of a gain here. Would he get a yard or so?
Right, and it looked like he was going to get a pretty good gain out of that, and the Cooper defense pursued it pretty well.
So 3rd and about 14 or so here for St. Louis Park. Ball security, the biggest thing here. I mean, you'd love to get the first down, and they're going to go for that, but you have to also make sure you don't give up a big play the other way. Oh, Cooper jumping into the neutral zone. I don't think they were drawn off. It looks like it'll be a penalty against Cooper.
Yep. Offside against Cooper. That's, again, 5-yard penalty. Doesn't look like a big deal, but that 5 yards of field position makes a difference. It makes it 3rd and 8 rather than 3rd and 13. Makes a nice move out past the 15-yard line. So you're going to kick from inside the field of play, not from the end zone.
Sorensen stepping up as the rush is coming, now in trouble and turns and throws it up the sideline. Cooper screaming for an intentional grounding.
Wow.
And the officials will talk. I don't think it's decided yet that it's not going to be for sure as he spun away. You see the rush coming, and it's just going to be an incompletion as he was brought down hard by Jabari Walker.
Yeah, Jabari Walker really stayed with the pass rush that time as Sorensen. I think in a situation like that, Sorensen just needs to decide, hey, I'm going to run it and get what I can, and then we'll come back and punt it. But trying to throw the ball in that situation is really tough.
Redelius Palmer punting, and Sproles has to just watch it be down by St. Louis Park, but good field position for Cooper. Even though it was a pretty good punt, it'll be still Hawks ball at the 46 of the Orioles, and time is certainly not a factor for them right now with 3:10 to go in the second quarter.
No. But Cooper really hasn't generated a ton of offense. They've done 2 or 3 really nice plays, and they've had 3 or 4 really crummy ones, and everything else has been kind of in between. They really haven't been able to set the tone yet that they want to.
Borden takes the handoff here left side. Borden stays on his feet and dances out of bounds right near the yard marker. Looks like he may have enough for the first down, it would appear, at about the 35-yard line. Yep, give me 11 on that carry. He breaks more tackles than, as you said earlier, than you might think for a guy his size. Keeps the legs moving.
Yes, he does, and he's got good quickness, like you said, Jay. He gets to full speed pretty quick, so when he gets to the line of scrimmage, he's moving.
Fake it to Borden this time. Throw it out in the flat, and Osseo stays on his feet, but 4 guys there, no chance to escape that, and they will stop him for a loss. Boy, Park read that, well, first of all, smelled that play out pretty good, but also did a good job of not getting blocked by the receivers. They were able to get off. That might have been an illegal block that we just saw right there by Cooper. It's going to result in a loss of a couple.
But there were several guys that maintained really good leverage. That's something that, you know, as a coach, you like to see, that your defensive players are maintaining leverage on the offensive players.
King throwing, and was this early? Looks like they're going to rule it a good breakup. Boy, he was awful close to coming over the back of Osseo before the ball got there, but
it's really close. Even from that angle, it's tough to tell.
Yeah, Lopez Barrera coming up over the top, and we're going to have a timeout requested here by Cooper, and I think Willie Howard has also taken this opportunity to ask why that wasn't a pass interference.
Do your hit.
Let's go back down to the sideline now to Allie.
Yeah, guys, not a single flake in the sky anymore. But before the game, during warm-ups, there was over 2 inches of muck and slop on that field that these guys had to practice through. And while I'm out there, I noticed that a majority of these guys are wearing their low-top cleats with just socks and not any tape keeping snow out. And I'm noticing wet socks. I asked a St. Louis Park player, I said, is that wet and cold and uncomfortable? And he said all 3, but we have been practicing in shoe conditions like this all week to prepare for this game. So it's got to be uncomfortable given, you know, getting snow riding up here and there, but now you've got wet, cold feet. And guys, you guys keep talking about how visible the field is from up in the booth, but from down here, it's a different situation. It is very hard to see the yard markers and the lines throughout this field. So keep that in mind for the refs and what they're seeing out here.
King looking to throw, throwing deep to the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown. Grab made by falling backward was Adrian Adams, and he is there for the catch, and King throwing a strike downfield, and Cooper is on the board.
Well, that's a nice 46, 48-yard pass, and again, well defended. The defender slips and falls. That's, I believe that's, Malone. Slips and falls at about the 2-yard line, but pretty well defended all the way down the field. And a nice catch by Adrian Adams to get close to tying the game up.
And we get a flag on this attempted extra point here, so Cooper marched off 5 against them as the extra point attempt coming from Edgar Carrillo. A little bit of a high snap, and it's blocked. St. Louis Park getting up for the block, and so they will keep the lead courtesy of that block as the extra point attempt unsuccessful. And it will stay 7-6, St. Louis Park, with 2:06 to go here in quarter number 2. Another look at this play. A 37-yard strike here. And you see, as you said, the defender fell, and he actually at that point tried to, tried to trip up the receiver and make a play to, even though it would have been interference, it would have stopped the touchdown, but nothing he could do. And Adams just waiting for that one. You see the heaters on the Cooper sideline.
The guys trying to keep their fingers warm, and nice to have a little heater down there to take the chill off a little bit.
And they could bring it up here if they like. We're in the booth, but it wouldn't be described as toasty up here either. Although I'm sure Allie right now is saying, yeah, I don't feel too sorry for you guys. So it'll be Abdul Rahman kicking it off here for Cooper, driving it toward the sideline, and it is going to go out of bounds. So St. Louis Park will get it at the 35-yard line here, as each team has now put a kick out of bounds. And so the Orioles will have it back. Be interesting to see here if they're going to be full go attack here. Pretty good field position. They got 2:06 to go. You see Coach Wolf there showing, talking with his team as they get set to come out.
I would think, just from the way they've played things so far, why not? What do you got to lose? At this point in the season, you got to let it all go, and you got to play to try to score whenever you can. My thinking is they're not going to try to run the clock out. They're going to try to get the ball down the field and score.
Agreed, and especially with getting the ball where they got it, rather than if they were pinned deep.
Right.
That even makes that decision more likely. Sorensen, quarterback draw here, trying to pick his way forward as the Hawks rip at the football. He'll pick up about 8, it looks like, on that first down play.
Yep, got about 8. They're gonna come up and line right up.
And Sorensen lost his helmet, so he's going to have to come out for a play, which obviously wasn't what they had in mind beginning
part
the
of
drive
the plan.
here.
Yeah.
So Aaron Ellingson will come in to take the snap. Hopefully it's not more than just the helmet coming off for Sorensen. Ellingson, he's going to go with the quarterback draw as well. He'll pick up the first down, stumbles, and then paid the price as Sproles coming up to hit him along with Kevon Fryer. But he easily got the first down.
Pretty gutsy play call for a sophomore quarterback who's been standing on the sideline the whole game, and give him the ball and let him run for a first down. Pretty nicely done.
Sorensen back in there. Football at the St. Louis Park 48, 1st and 10. We're ticking close to a minute. Sorensen firing, and his pass is complete. And Burns coming up with the stop as he connected with Ryan Clares there, and that'll be a gain of about 8.
Clares does a nice job of running the under route, getting the ball.
And a quick sneak here to pick up the first down to stop the clock here. I don't think too many people were ready to go, and Sorensen took it himself and picks it up.
Yeah, Sorensen took advantage of the lull there, and now St. Louis Park taking a timeout.
It was such a strange-looking play that you almost wondered if, was there a penalty coming? But it was like he and his center were the only ones that really were going there, and it was a pretty smart play as it turned out. Picks up that first down. Here's a look at the Section 5 bracket, how things have gone. The big upset in the first round was Park Center knocking Irondale out, and then St. Louis Park able to defeat the Pirates by 3. Cooper, after having a bye, a good performance last week, a good workmanlike performance. They didn't blow Spring Lake Park off the field, but they just kind of controlled things and finished drives, whereas the Panthers were unable to do so. And so that's how we wind up here. St. Louis Park leading at 7-6, 43 seconds to go. They've moved the ball from the 35 into Cooper territory at the 40. Still a couple timeouts to go here for Park, and a quarterback who has shown an ability to throw the ball downfield. Sorensen thought about letting it go, and then it's going to be brought down. And they're going to have to quick use another timeout. Sorensen looked like he was about to heave it and then decided he's going to tuck it and try and run, and loses a couple on the sack.
Sorensen sacked on the play by the Hawks. Number 51, Justin Madison.
Yeah, that's a good decision he made on that. Sorensen made on the field there. I think if he'd have launched that thing, it had a bad outcome was as likely as anything. And taking a bit of a loss, taking a 1 or 2 yard loss, you don't like to do that. But you had a timeout, and you'd rather have the ball and be able to do something with it than heave it up for grabs and having it get picked off. We're going to get a softer secondary now. I'm looking at the secondary for Cooper. They're lined up at 8 to 15 yards off the line of scrimmage. So they're going to give up the 5-6 yard pass, but they're not going to give up anything deep.
Sorensen guns it over the middle. There is a flag down. He completes it to Clares, but this presumably will be an offensive penalty. We might have had a lineman downfield or a hold. There's a hold in the middle.
Penalty against the Orioles.
So penalties have been a little bit of an issue for both teams. Not, 6 penalties now against the Orioles and 4 against Cooper.
But that's the second holding penalty that they've been hit with at least. And, that's a bad penalty at a bad time. Now you're moving the ball back past the midline, and you got 2nd and 20 at least, 2nd and 22.
2nd and long, Park.
And obviously time a big issue for them now too, as they wind the clock, under a half minute to go, and they are going to go stick it on the ground here. And Nathan is wrapped up and brought down as Walker grabbed him and got some help, and that might bring us to the end of the half here. I think with the switch and field position and everything, St. Louis Park at this point just going to be content to let that clock tick down to zeros, it looks like.
Yeah, Walker and Taylor did the two middle guys on that defense really did a good job of getting into the backfield that time.
So we go to halftime here at Barbara A. Lehman Stadium at Cooper High School. It is St. Louis Park holding a 1-point advantage, 7-6, as they scored a touchdown in the final seconds of the first quarter. Cooper scored one late in the second quarter to pull within 1, but then had their extra point attempt blocked. So it is the Orioles maintaining a 1-point lead into halftime of the Section 5 title game. And snowy night. It's although you have to admit the conditions are quite a bit better now than when the game started.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It's a whole different thing. Although the footing maybe still isn't going to be the greatest, and it definitely is not warm out there. We know that part, but certainly it's better than it looked like it was going to be when the game was first kicked off, or even in the pregame, as the teams were really battling through a lot of snow.
You see a nice winter landscape over towards the high school there.
Let's go down now to field level with Allie.
All right, Coach, you guys were able to capitalize on that Cooper turnover, put up some points on the board, and you were able to hold them defensively as well all the way till the end of the quarter. What'd you like that you saw in the first?
I feel like we're playing with some intensity. We got a little bit of purpose to our play. We're smacking and playing pretty physical, so that's the nice thing. I got to do better. We've had a couple explosive plays, but we also given up a couple, so just got to keep playing better.
This is the number 2 ranked team in Class 5A. What is it going to take to take them down and advance your way to state?
24 minutes.
24 minutes. We'll see that out there.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Allie, and thanks to Coach Wolf for taking the time. It's 7-6 St. Louis Park. We will be back here with first half highlights and more at Cooper High School.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
Great night for Grill and Burgers here at Cooper High School. The Hawks trailing St. Louis Park 7-6 at halftime as we take a look at some first half highlights from tonight's contest. It started out with a very snowy night and got a little better as we went. And you see the ball dropped there by the punter, Skylar Rodelius Palmer, recovered by Cooper. And then Ante Burns gets to the outside here, but watch him, he'll start to reach the ball out as he nears the goal line. He was switching to his left hand and lost it. It went out of bounds through the end zone, so that's a touchback in St. Louis Park football. And then a fake punt as Rodelius Palmer back in punt formation and just barely gets the first down here for St. Louis Park on a very big run for them. Cameron King throwing the ball. Great coverage here, but put it right on the money and connected with Osseo on a tremendous completion there for the Hawks, but then they have trouble with the handle. This is what you thought you might see on a night like this, and St. Louis Park coming up with the recovery, and they are able to make it count as Johnny Sorensen on the little quarterback draw takes it in for a yard out on with 3 seconds to go in the first quarter. And Cooper coming back, got the running game going a little bit with Borden as he made a nice move here and knocked out of bounds. And then it's King looking, and then he comes back the other way. Defender falls, and Adams hauling it in. 37-yard touchdown. However, Cooper's extra point was no good. And so the 7-6 score. You see the Orioles with a slight edge in rushing, Cooper a slight edge in passing, and the total yards pretty darn close, first downs as well. See, penalties have been a little bit of an issue in the 7 off turnovers for St. Louis Park. We'll be right back here to Cooper High School in just a moment as our Section 5 championship continues.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Welcome back here to Cooper High School as the Orioles of St. Louis Park leading Cooper by a score of 7-6. Let's go to Allie.
Coach, some unfamiliar territory for you guys here, but you did get that 35-yard touchdown, which breathed some life back into you before half. What does this team need to do in the second here that you didn't see in the first?
Eliminate mistakes. If we play our style of football, we're going to be okay. A good football team over there, so we got to come out second half, play Cooper-style football, and we'll be all right.
Do you think these guys feel the pressure of what's on the line here in the second?
No, I think at the end of the day, if they execute like they're supposed to, the ball came down twice on offense. We didn't execute on defensive play. They're making big plays. Now it's time for us to go play our style.
Sounds like they know what to do. Good to feel that, Coach.
Thanks, Allie, and thanks, Coach Howard. And, you know, it's certainly most coaches are saying the same things. You know, you're doing just a little bit different than what we need to do in terms of our execution and making plays. And, you know, you'd like to say a fumble exchange should never happen, but you know it's going to, especially on a night like tonight, and they weren't able to recover it either. So got a few things that they need to nail down. And
yeah, that's exactly it. And I think Coach Howard stresses that every time I talk with him. He stresses, you know, we need to play our style. We need to execute the way we should be doing it, the way we've taught our players to do it. And that's a mantra that he has all the time. That we need to do what we do well, and we need to play our style of football. And if his kids are hearing that all the time as well, then they know that they can rely on their coaching and their training and everything like that to not make mistakes.
Well, we talked a little bit earlier. They were sent to double overtime by Irondale in the last regular season game after, to be honest, having mostly pretty lopsided games all year.
Right.
And you know how that was an important thing for them to have to play 4 quarters and to be in a situation where you might lose. And
exactly.
You know, I think it was something that would help them. And sometimes when you're undefeated, as Ali asked, you know, the pressure can get you a little bit. You start to, you know, think about all the things that you've accomplished and that you want to accomplish this year. And
right.
now you will go into the halftime trailing it. You know, you gotta make sure that you're not thinking negative thoughts at this point.
Exactly. And the other thing that I think comes into players as well as coaches' minds from time to time is that, you know, you're playing for a spot. This is in a sense the midway part of the season, or the 2/3 part. You've got the regular season, you've got the sections, and then you've got the state. And this is, like you said, I think the combined pressure of playing a team that you've beaten by 23, and at a point now where you're halfway through the game and then you're still trailing them, granted by 1 point, but still you're trailing, and that can play mind tricks on you. And like Coach Wolf said, he wants to see our kids. We want to continue to play physical football. We want to go out there and smack somebody. Well, you never know what happens when you go out and smack somebody really hard. Ball drops and goes all over the place.
St. Louis Park, I think, has shown an ability to run the ball maybe, you know, a little more effectively than we thought they might be able to tonight. Yeah. And, you know, like we said, the stats are pretty even. It's just, you know, the turnovers obviously entered into it for Cooper on that. And, you know, they get the ball. Really, both turnovers are costly in different ways. The first one was where it looked like they might be punching, you know, ready to punch it in for a touchdown of their own, and instead they end up fumbling the ball through the end zone. And then the other one gives the ball to St. Louis Park in really good field position where they capitalize on it too. So,
yeah, it's really a, you know, a touchy thing when those kind of things happen. But now St. Louis Park is going to be kicking off to Cooper. So Cooper will get a chance to see if they can put a sequence together. If I was St. Louis Park right now, I'd be geeked up playing defense. As a coach, I always like to come out and get the first shot here on defense.
Rodelius Palmer getting set to kick it off here for the Orioles. Borden and Rashawn Keaton waiting deep for Cooper if the ball gets to that last level, and it won't. It's a short pop-up and a fair catch called for and made here. Probably not a bad idea in that spot here. You don't want to risk fumbling and teach your guys that, yes, you can fair catch it too, and Burns does so. So the Hawks will get the football in good field position at about their 39-yard line here to start the second half of football.
I'm kind of surprised that St. Louis Park actually tried that kickoff. It's the same kickoff that they did after their touchdown. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't do something else with the football, like kick it hard on the ground or something like that.
And off goes to Borden on first down, and he spins forward for about 4. He had a pretty good first half, really. They didn't, you know, use him a ton. He didn't pile up a great deal of yardage, but he did average, you know, over 5 yards per carry in that first half. Unofficially 8 rushes and 47 yards.
And he's right now, so far in this game, he's been the #1 back for Cooper.
Back to Borden. Oh my goodness, as he is pounded there. Getting up, and Armando Morelli was the guy up high, and hitting him down low was Malone. And he will lose a couple on that play. And Borden, that was a time when the best thing you could do there is just get down and get out of the way and not cough it up.
There you go. Yeah, that was a case there where the ground was his friend on that one.
3rd and 7 now for Cooper. King fakes the handoff, throwing on the run. It's juggled and I believe caught. Yes, it's hauled in, and it will be enough for the first down as he is able to find the tight end McMillan. Nice grab right on his fingers. He just briefly bobbles it there, but able to squeeze it on the second try, and that's a big first down for the Hawks.
And once again, the defender was stride for stride with the receiver, and the receiver made a really nice catch under pressure.
So football now just shy of the 50. They'll call it the 49. 1st and 10 here for Cooper, as McMillan making a nice catch there. King looking left, and his pass is incomplete as he throws low and behind his intended target there, Cornelius Wooten.
One of the things I noticed about Cameron King is that he does not lock into a single receiver very often. That time he was looking out into the flat and then tried to come back in over into the curl route, and just was a little bit behind the receiver. If he was able to get his shoulder around a little bit more, he could have made a better pass, but still he doesn't look at his receiver.
Ball's on the ground here, and it looks like Borden got back on it, but King never really had it here, and it bounced forward. Yeah. Borden very lucky to get this one. Borden actually kicked it, but then he got on top of it.
Yeah, that one looked like had no chance right from the beginning. The ball was snapped a little bit wide of King, and as you said, Borden kicked it forward, but was able to scramble up to it.
So 3rd and about a dozen now for Cooper. See if they have another big 3rd down play in them like last time, that completion to McMillan. King has plenty of time, now steps up, throwing, and hits Amusu, and he'll make the catch. He took a pretty good pop after he caught it, but he hangs on, and it will be enough for the first down for the Hawks.
Yeah, Musu catches the ball and catches a shoulder, but he hangs on to the football after a really nice grab to get the first down at the 39-yard line. Cooper moving the ball here.
And off goes to Borden, trying to bounce it to the outside. Borden dances out of bounds along the sideline there after picking up about 5. St. Louis Park did a good job of widening it out, but he still had enough speed to get just around the edge a little bit.
Yeah, got around the last guy, Achille Ferris, who couldn't quite close that thing off, but held him to a 5-yard gain, which is okay.
2nd and 5 here for the Hawks. Fakes the handoff, throwing to Amusu, and incomplete, as King was expecting him to be flowing forward there, and Amusu was standing stationary waiting for this little bubble screen, it looks like, and just didn't throw that one how he wanted to. He got it up too high.
That's a tough angle. That's a tough angle to throw too. The receiver has to help the quarterback out by getting back towards him or getting a bigger bow so that he can get his shoulders around to make the play.
Another big 3rd down play coming up here. 3rd and about 5 for Cooper, but certainly in 4-down territory here anyway. Here's Borden taking the handoff, and Borden reaching out, and he looks like he'll be short of the first down by a couple.
Not by much, but still short. Well, less than 2 yards.
Yeah, looks like maybe
pretty good
4th
spot
and 1.
there. Yeah, got a pretty good spot.
So 4th down and a yard at the St. Louis Park 30-yard line here early in the 3rd quarter. 7-6 lead for St. Louis Park. But Cooper a march going and trying to keep the drive alive here on this 4th down. And Cooper, deadly penalty right there.
That's their 5th 5-yard penalty, I believe. So they've had trouble with motion and offsides tonight.
Boy, and how different is it from 4th and 1 to this?
Oh, this is, you know, especially at this spot of the field. You know, you'd like you said, Jay, they were easily in the 4-down zone, and 4th and 1 is okay, but now 4th and 6, that's not a gimme. And Phoenix Sproles is going to come in and try to pin the Orioles deep into their own zone here.
Is this a spot where a fake might be in order, though? We'll see. You know, Sproles is going to kick it away, just a little low liner here, and he's able to dribble it down inside to around the 10, and then bounce backward a little bit, so it'll be down to the, 12-yard line or so?
Yep.
Do we have a flag? We do have a flag down on this play. Seemingly not the type of play where you often get penalties. It's a personal foul against St. Louis Park. Wow.
I did not see that.
So it's after the punt. It will still be St. Louis Park football.
But it's going to be half the distance to the goal from where the ball was killed. Or is it going to be 15 yards from the spot of the foul? It's going to be half the distance from the end of the punt, so that's going to put the ball at about the 4 or 5 yard line. Now, that's critical for both teams because now Cooper can let their defense go a little bit, be aggressive, and try to pin St. Louis Park down here inside their own 5 yard line.
On about the 8, Sorensen throwing over the rush and completes it. Hanging on there as he submarined the catch made. And so good first down play for Park. It won't be quite enough for the first down, but about a 9-yard pickup.
That's a good play on first down to just get the ball out of the zone, out of the deep zone there, and get a nice open pass. It was a nice simple pitch and catch for Sorensen and the receiver.
Oh, it is a first down.
Was it?
Initially
okay,
they were, initially it looked like they were spotting it just short, but so 1st and 10 here for the Orioles, and Nathan takes the handoff here, wrapped up from the side by Dwayne Taylor. Got some help as well there from Walker, and he'll get 3 yards or so, it appears. Orioles doing a nice job. You know, your initial thought on the drive like this is at least get out of the shadow of our own end zone. I mean, yeah, you'd like to march it all the way down 90 yards and score. That'd be the ultimate goal, but first things first, to move the chains and get the ball away from real trouble spots here.
Boy, exactly.
Sorensen handing it off to Nathan here, and he is brought down. Not much happening that time for the Orioles.
And it looks like it's going to be pretty much a no gain as well. Nathan does a nice job to get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe get a slight gain, but nothing very much. Nathan does, one of the things I like that Nathan does is that play looks like it's going to go wide, and when he sees that there's an opening straight ahead, he makes a nice plant and cut and gets going.
And off here going to Ferris, and he is wrapped up. Ante Burns getting there first, and Hill coming to help finish. And that will be a loss on this play. They sniff this one out immediately.
Yeah, Ante Burns and Nate Hill making the play. Nate Hill doing a good job of filling in off the flanks, and Ante Burns doing a great pursuit on that to force 4th and 9 now.
Cordelius Palmer on to punt. He will get the kick away. It's a short kick. Sproles thought about it and then not able to come up and play it, and it's down by Jake Olson at about the 48-yard line. So Cooper, you know, the situation changed when they had 4th in the yard, then they took the penalty, they end up punting, and I guess ultimately they're feeling like it probably worked out, the field position. They get the ball back where they wanted to here, and that's the I have to admit I was a little bit surprised they did punt in that spot, but ultimately it worked out.
Yeah, I think, you know, they're looking to play the field position game. I think they feel like they can, you know, they get one more score, they've got control of the game.
King handing it off to Borden, a lot of room to run out on the outside, and then, brought down physically there right at the sideline. And a gain of about 5. It looked like this one was going to go for more than that to start it out. Pretty good job. He maybe didn't go, he went to the outside of the block, and Adams had it blocked off a little bit to the inside as Ferris made that stop. And
Ferris did a nice job on that the whole way.
I agree, yep. I would have sworn it was going to go for more than 5 after he took that handoff, but good job by the defender Ferris to get there. 2nd and 5 now for Cooper. King handing it off to Borden. Trying to fight through a tackle. He'll be short by a couple yards here as he stopped at the 40.
Boy, he really attacks. I'm telling you, he really attacks the line of scrimmage. That wasn't much of a gain there. Maybe the length of the ball, but I like the way he attacks the line of scrimmage.
3rd and about 3 here for Cooper as we tick down toward 4 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. Hawks trailing St. Louis Park 7-6. The winner goes to the state 5A playoffs where they'll face either Brainerd or Alexandria. King, play action, throwing, and has his Matamusu wide open, and then he is body slammed, and there'll be a penalty call there on the tackle, I guess, to St. Louis Park, as Amusu will have the first down.
I don't know. That didn't seem to be anything out of line with that.
They're discussing it here, and it is going to be a personal foul. This is what football's become, and I don't like it. I mean, this is just a hard tackle. They're wrestling each other, and he's
I don't understand where's that personal foul. That's just a good hard tackle. That's a good hard tackle. That is not a personal foul in my mind.
Agree 100%.
But that costs St. Louis Park huge, and that's something I think that the high school league has to address. You know, there are illegal hits, which I hate more than anything, and there are dangerous hits, which I hate. That was not either one of those.
So great opportunity here for the Hawks, down to the 16 of Park on the march. King looking, complete, Sproles, and the ball comes loose, and it looks like it'll be recovered by Park, a touchback. Sproles, who has not been playing offense because of that hand injury, caught the ball initially, but then coughed it up before he got to the end zone, and St. Louis Park will come up with the clutch recovery.
This is a tough call right here. And yeah, the ball was out, right?
Boy, that's awful close, isn't it?
Yep.
And a great job to spin in and recover it. Boy, look at this. He is very close to breaking the plane with the football here.
Absolutely.
Raked out of there by Riley Dvorak, right?
Yeah, that's right before he gets to the goal line. He's knocked out. And the back judge throws a beanbag, signaling that's a fumble. He threw that beanbag right away. In his mind, that back judge saw that ball out before the player crossed the goal line. That's the second time we've had a touchback in the end zone. by Cooper tonight. Coach Howard probably a little less than excited about that. That's 2 scoring opportunities. That's 14 points down the drain. And in a game like this, points are hard to come by.
That was about as close as could be to already being in the end zone, but now Sorensen throwing it up deep there and incomplete, as he wanted to go to Mitchell deep downfield, but he was well covered, and it'll be 2nd down and 10. Well, we talked about earlier, Sproles had been only playing defense because of that cast on the hand. He caught the ball with his one good hand, but he couldn't really cover it with the other, and it was ripped out. Just, I don't know. I mean, you could look at that 10 times. To show it to 10 different people, probably half would say he was already in and half not, and it was very close.
And it's really tough if you don't have the camera angle right down the goal line. It's really tough to know.
Sorensen keeping it here. Burns scrapes off and makes the tackle. Sorensen did a nice job of protecting the football. And he's a little bit slow to get up there as he was brought down by Burns after a gain of a couple. So another big 3rd down play. Seems like we've had a lot of those here in this 3rd quarter for both sides there.
Yeah, it seems like St. Louis Park, has been every sequence now in the 3rd quarter. They've had 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and that's really tough to overcome.
Sorensen's going to run it on the draw and bounced free from a tackler there, and
he's short of the line to gain, but not by much. Sorensen's wiggly guy. He looks like he's getting stopped in there, and he's
see if they really go for it, if they're just trying to draw Cooper offside here. Hard to imagine you'd go for it in this spot in this game situation.
Yeah, at this spot on the field too. Maybe late in the game you might do that, but
I don't think they intended to run the play there. They're going to take a timeout. They don't want to give up the 5 yards that they did earlier on a delay. But I think it's a good idea to come up there, but I don't think they ever had any intention of snapping that ball.
That was a no play right from the get-go. But they have been able to draw Cooper offside a couple of times, so that's that's a good idea.
So Skylar Rodelius Palmer on to punt. Sorensen has been the punter twice, and the other times was Palmer. Rodelius Palmer ran for a 1st down, but I think the element of surprise is gone.
It's gone from there
this time around.
Yep. Yeah, I think Ante Burns is going to be aware of that.
Gets the kick away. Sproles drifting over there, but cannot come up and field it, and it will be down on the 32-yard line of Cooper with 1:44 to go here in the 3rd. The Hawks get the football back, but it's kind of been just a little back and forth here in this 2nd half so far. Teams trading punts.
Yeah, mostly playing between the 20s right now.
Except for the big play, obviously, where Cooper had the completion and the ball was stripped out of Sproles' hand right at the goal line. We have a penalty here.
That would not.
Looks like we must have. Looks like they are going to make him re-kick it here. Illegal shift against St. Louis Park. And Cooper didn't necessarily love the result of that punt, so they're going to make him do it again.
Yeah, and be 5 yards further back, you're going to get better field position.
And who knows, is it ball handling on a night like this? You might get something beneficial out of it in terms of the drop.
I think Coach Ben Wolf is not quite understanding what they mean by an illegal shift, because it didn't seem like anybody was moving around there. But
there was you could hear somebody yelling from the Cooper sideline about somebody moving.
Yep, I heard that.
Gets the punt away, but it's very short. It's a high kick. And Cooper will have improved field position because of it. It'll bounce around, out of bounds at around the 49-yard line of St. Louis Park. So they do gain about 10 yards or slightly more on that second punt, as he didn't hit that one particularly well.
No. The first one he drove pretty good. This one popped up in the air. Really didn't get much on it, and that's about a 15-yard, 16-yard difference in field position. So the 5-yard penalty cost them 3 times that in field position.
So Cooper gets it back at the Park 49-yard line here. King wanting to throw over the middle and juggled and dropped. And now we'll get a penalty flag flying against the Orioles, as Sproles was unable to haul it in, but we're going to have a personal foul, it looks like.
Oh, I see. Yep. That was a little bit more of an aggressive.
Oh, they're going to pick it up. No flag.
So what looked to me to be more of a hit to the head than the previous one is waved off. So I'm not sure I know what is and what isn't a good hit right now.
You kind of wonder if there was a possibility. Uh-oh, we got the official stopping to talk to Coach Howard here. You wondered if they, maybe in conferring, they were saying that the receiver was going downward, so that the hit ended up being up higher than it was going to be if he was still standing. And, you know, that all happens in a quick bang thing.
And
so Coach Howard having his say, and they get back to play. So it'll be a second down coming up here for the Hawks. King drops the ball, and it looks like Cooper got back on it, and they did.
Well, that was a fortuitous play by one of the offensive linemen.
Yeah, good job by Damari Bankhead to get on that one as King dropped it. And there was a defender that was a little bit closer, but Bankhead got a good read on the ball right away. And his first dive was true there. There wasn't any bobble or he didn't knock it away. He just got on it.
No. That was the first time we've seen King have trouble gripping the ball to throw it. We've seen a couple of not good snaps and handoffs. So it's the first time we've seen King have trouble throwing the ball.
So 3rd and long now for the Cooper offense. King steps up, throws over the middle. It's intercepted. Morelli then is popped, and he fumbles, and Cooper will have it back.
At the line of scrimmage, at the original line of scrimmage, so the sticks don't have to move too much.
Morelli coming up with a nice leaping interception, but then watch him get popped.
Yep.
As he was hit by Borden and then recovered by Adams, and Cooper will get it back, 1st and 10.
Well, don't see a double turnover very often. But Nasir Borden made a nice hit on Donahue as he made that.
Morelli.
Morelli made the play, yeah.
Here's Borden getting to the outside and a block from Sproles. And they will wrap him up And now a flag comes in at the end of the play.
We're getting
a little testy out there.
Yeah. And I thought Sproul's block was a good block on the defender there. And there's definitely a little something going on afterward. It looks like Achille Ferris is the Park defender still on the ground.
Personal foul against Cooper, and we'll see, is that the only one?
It might have been something that we didn't see, a low block, an illegal block below the waist.
Yeah, I don't know if the flag flew initially on that block.
That
appeared to be clean.
Yeah,
from
I don't know where
But then at the end of the play, things kept going on.
I see where Keeley would, Keeley Ferris took a shot right at the end of the play, and and that's what drew the personal foul flag.
And unfortunately, he is hobbling off right now.
Exactly.
Not looking like he can put any weight on that left leg.
And he's a key player in that defense.
So a 15-yarder against Cooper, and I think it was hard to see for sure, but I think what they're really saying is he, basically came up and drilled somebody who was standing there after the play had ended.
Yep.
That's where you got to kind of channel that aggression, both teams right now.
Yes.
Now is not the time that you can afford to be taking 15-yarders.
So now we're going to be first and about 25. For Cooper.
And off here going to Burns, and a nice open field tackle by Malone for St. Louis Park. It was a gain of about 5 for Ante Burns.
And it's be the end of the third quarter.
So an eventful third quarter, although a quarter with no points. We go to quarter number 4 here for the Section 5 5A championship at St. Louis Park 7 and Cooper 6. We'll be right back here to New Hope.
Race. Love is love.
And welcome back here to Cooper as we head to the fourth quarter. A 7-6 lead for St. Louis Park. Cooper will have the football, second down and very long here to begin this fourth quarter. Second about 19 or so, and they're going to go back to Burns on the ground, plowing forward here to about the 45 or so. So I'll give him another 5-yard pickup, it looks like. And so it'll be 3rd and 14 coming up here for the Hawks.
We're going to consider this at this point in the game, is this going to be 4-down zone now? We got 3rd and 15, so
I would think if they at least get something out of this, I would say that's a definite possibility. I don't know how many more times you're going to get the ball back here.
Right, especially in any kind of good field position.
And Cooper's going to use a timeout now to make sure they've got what they want dialed up here. So good strategic back and forth game here too, as you're talking field position and you know when do you punt and what kind of what do you set up a return, where they're looking to block, and all those things coming into play.
Exactly.
some of the fans across the way. It wasn't terribly long before the game started that there were not very many fans here. The snow was really flying, which I'm sure made it more difficult to get here, A. And B, as Bill pointed out, the smart ones were probably waiting in their car until about kickoff anyway, instead of coming out here in the middle of that, what was a snowstorm at the time. Of course, now it's calmed down a little bit, but still plenty of snow around. Big third down play, another one, as we said, 3rd and 15 coming up for the Hawks. Sproles is back in there offensively. At the top of the screen is a receiver, 3 receiver set. King looking that way towards Sproles, and it is incomplete. Pretty well defended out there. He was trying to get cut back toward the numbers, and the defender just did a good job of just kind of holding his position, maybe shielding him off a little bit, but not enough to draw a flag.
Right, and the ball was thrown way to the inside, and that needs to be tossed further, much further to the outside, so that the receiver has a better chance to get it. So we're going to have a punt now from Sproles.
Sproles will kick it away, and it's a pretty good one. Ball
flag.
fielded on the 20, a flag down. Adam Bauer is brought down. Getting down there quickly for Cooper was New Young Vang. But flag down. Maybe a personal foul against Cooper.
That'll bring the ball 15 yards up from the.
No, he signaled the wrong way. It's against St. Louis Park.
St. Louis Park. It was the St. Louis Park guy that took the shot at the Cooper guy. So that's going to put St. Louis Park deep in their zone again.
So they will be pushed back to, what about the 13-yard line?
Yep.
It looked like they're going to have much better field position. Both teams right now, you know, the time to show some restraint.
Yes.
Can't be taking those 15-yarders.
Nope.
Low snap, but Sorensen comes up with it, looking to throw now, tucks it and runs, and he dives forward at the 20. Did not want to take a big hit there, and smart play, I think, to get underneath the tackler there.
That's what's called discretion is the better part of valor, as the two, let the two Cooper guys knock each other down and you miss the hit.
Be 2nd and about 3 here for the Orioles. Fakes the handoff. Sorensen will keep it himself, and he will get the first down as he falls down out over the about the 28.
Boy, Sorensen's proving to be a pretty resilient runner. He's carried the ball quite a few times. He's had 14 carries so far tonight.
So 1st and 10 now at the 28-yard line for Park. Sorensen again looking to throw. Instead, he'll tuck it and run, and he is wrestled down by a pretty big fella, Shaquan Watson, only 6'4", 320. And it'll be about a 2-yard gain. Sorensen's done a pretty good job of protecting the ball when he gets into traffic. He's got to make sure, you know, security. When you're looking to throw downfield, you're obviously, you know, going to have the ball out away from your body a little bit, and then he has to quickly turn into a runner.
Yep.
Second and 8 here for St. Louis Park. Sorensen will hand it off. Natham has some room to run. It closes up quickly, though, at about the 35. It'll leave him about 3 yards short of a first down. And here's another key 3rd down play coming up. 3rd and 3 here for St. Louis Park.
Well, 3rd and 3 is a whole lot different than 3rd and 9. And they've got a much more open play calling opportunity here, and both Sorensen and Nathan have done a really good job of running the ball and picking their spots.
Fakes the handoff, and Sorensen will run it himself, and he looks like he'll have enough for the first down as he is out close to the 40-yard line there.
He got just enough stretch at the end of that.
Interesting. I'm not sure. Yeah, the way that looked, he might have intended to hand that ball off. It looked like he couldn't reach Nathan, like they weren't quite in the same, in the same space that they wanted to be. I don't know that that was a fake so much as he couldn't reach him.
Yeah, the mesh point wasn't looking real good right there.
But heads up play by Sorensen. He didn't waste any time worrying about it. He just got upfield. Nathan, nope, Sorensen tossing it out in the flat, and Clares was turning his head to look where he was going to go and didn't hang on, so it falls incomplete. Good play fake there. I thought at first he had handed it off, and then a little toss to Clares. It was about as easy a catch as you'll have. He just, obviously was turning to look where he was going to go first.
Yeah, you got to catch it first and run second. And that was really a nice play call. They really had set that up nicely. And that's when you say, oh my gosh, because you can't come back to that one very quickly now.
2nd and 10 now for the Orioles. Sorensen keeping it himself, and a nice hole to run through. Sorensen into the secondary. Sproles comes over and knocks him down, but he's into Cooper territory at about the 46. Give him 14 and a first down.
Boy, Sproles makes a nice play here. Way downfield, but it's really nice one-on-one open field tackle.
With one hand.
Sorensen, with his one hand. But not until Sorensen makes the first down. Boy, that was really well executed.
Boy, when you
quarterback keep there.
You get the 4 new set of downs, and you also cross midfield. That was a huge play right there for St. Louis Park. To Nathan on the ground, and he will pick up a couple. Cooper obviously trying to rip at that football. Orioles have done a pretty good job protecting it. And it will be 2nd and 8 from about the 44. We tick down to a little over 7.5 minutes to play. St. Louis Park continuing to hold a 7-6 lead. Got to give their O-line some credit, but we haven't talked about them much. No. But they've been getting some push. They've been opening some holes. Done a pretty good job of keeping Sorensen on his feet on the passing attempts too. Sorensen will run it this time, and nowhere to go. Just as I say that, Stokes and Taylor able to get there and keep that one to no gain. It looks like on the play. Maybe actually a short loss.
Yeah. But we do have to give some credit to Nick Medina, Tony Christensen, Jake Olson, Zach Corporon, and Alejandro Cesares, who've done a really good job tonight. And this sequence has been a pretty good one for them. They've kept the ball on the ground except for one incomplete pass.
Wonder if Park might be going to take a timeout here. They're running out of time, and I suspect they're going to have to. 3rd down and 9 play coming up, and they will use the timeout as they're slow getting that play in. And obviously at this time you want to use as much time as you can too.
Oh, absolutely.
But they will take the timeout rather than be assessed a penalty here with a 3rd and 9 coming up. It's been a good ball game here tonight, and not much offense here on this cold, snowy night. It's been a defensive battle, some close plays, a couple of costly turnovers for Cooper. That's probably, if they do not come back and win, would be the biggest thing that they'll
sending the ball two touchbacks on fumbles into the end zone. Those are tough to recover from.
And then you had the offensive one that gave Park a short field.
Right.
So here we go, a 3rd down coming up. Both teams badly wanting a big play. Sorensen up under center. I don't think we've seen that all night. No, he is going to drop back now.
Just give him a little bit different look.
Fakes the handoff. Sorensen throwing over the middle, and the pass is complete. And it looks like it'll be enough for the first down as well. And so Park getting a huge third down completion right there. Sorensen putting it right on the money. Big hit by Sproles, but not enough to present the first down. And St. Louis Park will have it at the 35 of Cooper now. First down and 10.
Well, this drive started after a penalty on Park. Put the ball back inside the 15-yard line to the 13, so they've moved the ball pretty well now.
Oh, the ball's on the ground. Yeah. The snap never got up. The Orioles did recover it. But especially on a night like tonight, you can't take anything for granted. You see that ball just laying there, and a great job to get on it.
But that ball just slipped out of the center's hand and didn't come up off the floor at all. And the pulling guard's the one that really made the play there. Otherwise, that's a turnover. But you're at 2nd and 11 now.
Past the halfway point of this fourth quarter now as we tick down to 5:20 and running here. 2nd and 11 for Park. A little toss out and the ball nearly dropped as Nathan had it on his hip for a little bit there, and the Hawks come up and quickly drop him for another short loss.
Yeah, so now you're going to be 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13. These are tough calls now, but you've got to consider yourself pretty much into 4-down territory. But we did have a kick earlier in the game by Park to put the ball out at the 1 or 2 yard line. You might want to you might think about doing that again.
Third and long here for Park. Sorensen on the keeper. Not going to be near the first down, wrapped up and thrown down by Walker. And we'll bring up a 4th down and long.
This is where I think you call the punt the ball out of bounds at the 2-yard line play.
Yeah, this will be interesting. It's a tough choice. It's really 10. In that in-between kind of spot.
And I think it was Sorensen that actually made that punt earlier in the game.
But if you get a touchback here, you're only gaining 15 yards out of it, too.
Exactly. That's why you got to get it out of bounds.
And we have a flag down. We might have had 12 men in the huddle perhaps here. Nope, they're going to pick the flag up.
Oops.
Looks like you made there was a wrong count there. So here we go, 4th down, lining us up as if to go for it, but he still could punt it here, obviously. Of course, you're not very far behind the line of scrimmage, and if there's any penetration here, it'd be hard to get a punt out of there.
Yeah, he's going to back up.
Sorensen, I think, waiting until that count is getting down deep enough, and then he'll have him snap it. Yeah, they didn't do it in time, though.
No, I'm not sure.
Now they're going to just take the 5 and punt it, I guess, here maybe.
Yeah. They've got 1 timeout remaining.
I don't know. To me, that timeout's pretty valuable, though. Or, excuse me, that 5 yards is pretty valuable.
Yeah, and unless you were planning on punting it and trying to angle the punt out of bounds.
Yeah, Rodelius Palmer has come on now to boot this ball away. Omosu drifting back deep. Sproles is kind of in the up position. And it's a fake. Spinning out of there is Ellingson, and he is brought down. That might be a horse collar tackle, and it is.
And that's going to give Park a first down.
Ellingson spinning out of there. You see, fakes the handoff, keeps it. And the pursuit coming, and he stumbles, but it's a clear horse collar tackle there. And a huge play in the game right there.
Yeah, Jabari Walker was not very well fooled by that, but he just couldn't quite catch up to Ellingson. And unfortunately, he's going to get called for a horse collar tackle, which puts the ball 15 yards further up. That's going to put Park into good scoring position. You see that entire bench is fired up. The student section is fired up. This is a critical point in the ball game right now with 3:03 remaining.
First down from the Cooper 18. And a nice gainer on that first down play as Natham takes the handoff. Well-designed fake here. It did fool a few people, but not everyone. And you see he was going to be stopped way short of the first down, but dragged him down.
And it's hard to fault Jabari Walker. He hustled on that play, the whole play, and just unfortunately got the wrong part of the Ellingson's uniform, but he's going to get called, and he got called for the horse collar.
Back they go to Natham, and through a gap there, and he looks like he may have enough for the first down.
Yeah, but he's going to, looks like they gave him the line to gain.
So it'll be first and goal to go from the 9-yard line now for St. Louis Park. Cooper might have to start using timeouts defensively here.
Yeah, just to try to preserve some time.
Well, they're going to measure. We might have jumped the gun by calling this a first down. As Allie pointed out, it is not all that easy to see some of the markers out here. It is a first down by half the length of the football. They did a good job of clearing the field, but it's still tougher than a normal night to see what's what out there.
Yeah, especially with the angle and the glare of the lights off of the field. But 2:12 to go in the game. Cooper's got to think about how are we going to play this out here. We've got to get the ball back. We've got to keep them from scoring, but we've got to be able to do something to get the ball downfield. This is where Park wants to be very intelligent with the football.
Natham takes the handoff and is belted. And I think Cooper's going to use a quick timeout here. Yes, they are. Pretty much have to at this spot.
Yep, I think you have to use one at the end of first down, one at the end of third down. But you've got to keep them out of the end zone to have any hope at all.
Minute 46 up on the clock here. Second down, goal to go for St. Louis Park from about the 8-yard line of Cooper. Orioles clinging to a 7-6 lead. They've had the lead throughout after getting a score right at the end of the first quarter. And the difference is they made their extra point. Cooper's was blocked.
Exactly. And it's been a field position and defensive battle until this possession. This is really the first sustained drive of the entire game.
And obviously that huge penalty helping St. Louis Park as the horse collar tackle.
It's interesting that a good portion of this drive, Sorensen has been keeping the ball after faking to Natham. And in the last couple, 3 plays, Natham has been given the ball, and he's done a pretty good job with it.
Second and goal from the 8.
As we said earlier, Johnny Sorensen, a pretty good all-around athlete. Captain of the football team, captain of hockey, captain of the baseball team, 3-sport athlete. Having a pretty good game here tonight.
Oh, the ball's dribbled back to him, and Sorensen will fall on it. Boy, you never say it's over.
Never say never.
That's the second time on this drive that the center snap has just kind of skidded back there.
And it must be slipping right. It must be just slipping right out of his hand.
Well, and that's when teams started to go to the shotgun almost exclusively, this is the type of situation that I always kind of wonder, not obviously a center direct exchange can result in a fumble very much as easily too, but you're kind of putting yourself in a spot where it's a little bit different situation, dynamic to try to get that ball back there. So another timeout taken, and Cooper's out of timeouts now, but boy, only a couple seconds ticked off the clock on that play. That was big for Cooper. I mean, obviously the yardage part matters too, but also the time.
Yeah. I think Park would have liked to have had another 40 seconds run off the clock. So whatever we have with third down, it's third and goal.
To me, if you're St. Louis Parker, you've still got to run the football.
I think so.
Take a bunch more time off, even if you end up just giving Cooper the ball at the 10 or inside the 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's better than potentially making a huge mistake.
Exactly.
Sorensen spinning out. He's under pressure. He will throw, and it's a completion for the touchdown. Unbelievable.
My goodness. Talk about a play. And that was one in which Sorensen looked like he was going to be sacked for a loss.
That's why I'm up here doing this instead of coaching, right?
Oh my gosh,
I was completely wrong on that one.
Well, it's like we said the whole game, Park has nothing to lose here. They've, and they've kind of let it out right from the beginning, and boy, now it's showed up here at take a 13-6 lead.
Now the extra point, all important here as well, as Cordelius Palmer will kick it. And a legal procedure called against the Orioles, so that will make this one just a little bit tougher.
Somebody moving around up there. So we have Park setting up 5 yards deeper for the point after here. Sorensen, the holder, kick is down, hits the upright and is no good.
Well, Cooper still has life.
That is the ultimate right there, is that you had the ball for about 12 minutes, it seemed like.
And here's Sorensen hitting McCabe Dvorak open and in for the touchdown. I thought, pretty big gamble by the Orioles to go for it, and then this one knocking some snow off the upright here.
After the 5-yard procedure penalty. So this is a. Now I think this time we may see Cordelius Palmer drive the ball further downfield.
One big drive ahead for the season for Cooper here. No timeouts remaining. They've had some pretty good kick returns this year, and I suspect Park, knows that. Obviously, they watched a lot of film on them, and you don't want to give one of the game breakers a chance.
No, you want to make them field the ball when it's bouncing around, because it's really hard to do that. And you want to get the best field position you can. I mean, you want to get them as deep in their zone as you possibly can.
And
so they do exactly
what timeout taken by St. Louis Park before they kick that ball. Interesting.
And an interesting kickoff. I think Cooper's just sitting on that kickoff now, and I think Ben Wolf's saying, "I'm really not what I wanted you to do, Skyler. Let's kick the ball downfield. Let's kick the ball where they can't handle it very well. Don't give them the ball at the 45-yard line."
Kind of interesting how that all developed for St. Louis Park. You almost think to yourself, would they have been better off not getting 6 points but using up more time and giving Cooper the ball at the 5 or whatever, you know. I mean, it's not like you ever turned down a chance to get a touchdown.
No.
But I think the door feels almost more open for Cooper than it would have been in that scenario.
Yeah, you know, and especially with the type of kickoff that they just had, you know, they really need to get the ball downfield more. They need to give themselves a chance to.
And he is going to bang it deep, but allow a potential return as Borden. Borden has a big gap opening up. He might go. One guy has the angle. He forces him back and drags him down. It'll be Cooper football inside the 30 at about the 27. Well, maybe
what you said.
Wasn't exactly what they're. I'm sorry, not Borden, but Keaton on the return. And boy, there was a lot of room as soon as he got a few yards upfield. Give some credit there to Malone, or excuse me, Lopez Barrera for cutting down the angle, and they'll bring him down at the 26-yard line. And a minute 27 to go as Keaton with a great return there for the Hawks.
My goodness. And this is where my preference is to kick the ball on the ground, make somebody feel the bouncing ball rather than the one that's in the air that's easier to catch.
Crunch time now for Cooper and Park. Hawks down by 7, but they get the great return to the 26. King throwing and incomplete as the linebacker Morrison undercut that route.
He undercut it and got a hand on it too.
2nd and 10 here for Cooper. Two receivers each side and Borden in the backfield here for the Hawks on 2nd and 10. King looking to swing it out to Borden, and it's incomplete. So 3rd and now we have a flag down right at the end of the play. Personal foul against St. Louis Park.
Oh, that is.
Another look as he throws it out in front of him there, and ball on the ground, and
well, that is a huge break for Cooper.
I don't know. It was pretty obvious that the ball was incomplete, and he really did drive it, a shot into his back. Not a real smart play there, whether it was a penalty or not. I mean, it wasn't necessary.
Yeah, not a real smart play. That's
King looking over the middle and incomplete.
There's still a minute and 15 to go.
Yeah,
seemed like we're chewing up the clock there for so much. But here's the receiver, drops the balls on the ground. Yeah, and he dropped his shoulder right onto
and his helmet into him too.
That's not a smart play, especially when you're ahead by 1 touchdown. If you're ahead,
well, and if it was a little more bang bang, but the ball had bounced twice, it was clearly incomplete at that point. So anyway, 2nd down and 10 here for Cooper. Game on the line, season on the line here in this Section 5 5A championship. King looking to his left, now throwing, and incomplete for Amusu up over the top. He was pretty well bracketed there and trying to squeeze one in, but not a whole lot of chance to get that one completed, so 3rd down.
Yeah, pretty nice double move by Amusu, but he was double covered, so it was pretty hard to find a window to throw that ball into. Brings us now to 3rd and 10.
They do their best to dry that ball off after it went into the snow over there too.
Right, I think Cooper needs to look at getting a 1st down as much as anything here. I know they need to score, but they need to get the ball.
King rolling to the right, throwing. A flag is down. The pass is complete to Amusu, and he is in for the touchdown, but will this stand up? There is a flag, maybe more than one.
Yeah, and there might be a hold. It's thrown by the wing judge.
Huge call, obviously, right here. And it is
Holding
against
on
the defense. So the result of the play will be a touchdown, I believe, is what should be the call. See Omusu making the catch, spinning and reaching out, and he is in for the touchdown. And so 13-12, and now Cooper with a huge decision to make.
Right. So 2 penalties after a huge return, putting Cooper in a position that they can, with a 2-point conversion, take the lead for the first time tonight with 1:04 to go in the game.
So Cooper going for 2 and the lead. 13-12 Park, but the Hawks trying to surge in front. They'll go to Ante Burns. And no signal yet.
Not in.
He did not get there. No good on the conversion. And Park able to continue to hold the lead.
So both teams have scored within the last 1:20 of the game. As we can see, Ante Burns wrapped up in the backfield. This is a good penetration by the defense, and you can see that he's down.
He's actually not really even close.
So now Cooper's got to try to cover an onside kick of some variety and get the ball back down into scoring position. But we went 3 3/4 and 11 minutes with 2 touchdowns, and now we get 2 touchdowns in the last 1.25 minutes.
Sorensen out there as part of the hands team to receive this kick, and obviously I don't think there's any secret it's going to be an onside kick, but just where and maybe what type. Sometimes teams like to go with a little pop-up kick, and some like to just drill it on the ground.
And as we saw, if you do a pop-up kick, the receivers have to be smart enough to know that they can fair catch the ball.
Abdul Rahman getting set to kick this ball off. I always feel like it's best to really kick it hard and low and hope, have it be where you can't get out of the way
and bounce off of somebody.
Because just trying to bounce it or pop it up is just so difficult to execute really well. I think you could do better by driving the ball just low on the ground and make it a wild scramble. Keep in mind, Cooper's out of timeout, so if they don't get this recovery, it's pretty much the ball game. Rahman will kick it on the ground, and the Orioles look like they did recover it.
That's going to be pretty much the game.
Aaron Sledge was the first guy to it there for Park. And it appears as though that he was able to secure the ball. And he was, and so St. Louis Park will have it at their 49. Watch number 30 here. Just a little bit of a bobble when it first got to him, but then he just did the right thing, just fall right down on the ball.
Fielded like a good third baseman.
Now get the snap back twice or so, and you should be good to go if you're the Orioles. But as we saw on the last drive, night like tonight,
you can't count on
a sure
anything.
thing. And Sorensen is going to come up under center here, and no doubt just take a quick knee. So takes a knee, and he'll bring up second down. Well, they don't do this much, I don't think, so you might be right then. And if you're Sorensen, don't try to use any extra time or anything. You just got to get to a knee immediately here. Don't mess around.
Because you only got to snap the ball one more time.
And Sorensen will go to a knee, and that should do it. St. Louis Park to be able to celebrate a section championship and their first ever trip to the state playoffs as they pull off the upset and knock off the top seed and number 2 ranked Cooper Hawks here tonight.
My gosh.
By a final of 13-12. Wow, what a football game here, Bill. This one had twists and turns left and right.
This was everything. This was everything you wanted to have in a section championship game. Major upset by a team that had been beaten by 23 points earlier in the season. 1-point win. Snowy night, what more can you ask for?
So congratulations to the Orioles as they pick up their first tournament appearances. They get set to face Brainerd in the section championship. And Bill, disappointing night for Cooper, but
very much so.
Great season for them, and it's going to sting. But tremendous year that the Hawks put together this fall.
Well, a lot of people would like to be 9-1, but nobody wants to have 9 straight wins and then lose in the section championship. That's just not the way you dream of having your season go. However, give the credit to the Orioles. They came to play. They did everything. They let it all out the entire game tonight, took every chance and made it work.
So that'll wrap things up for us this evening here from Cooper High School. Your final is St. Louis Park 13 and Cooper 12. Good night from Cooper High School.